to Coffee Break with K.A. and Dana. We're brought to you by the Lesbian Talk Show. I'm K.A., a lesbian romance author, and in my past life, a counselor and a social worker.
And I'm Dana, an avid reader, coffee connoisseur, recovering alcoholic, and a graduate of the School of Hard Knocks.
Grab a cup of coffee, pull up a chair, and join us for a meaningful conversation from a lesbian perspective. According to Parents Magazine, in the U.S. alone, there are at least 3 million children with lesbian moms. Research says these kids are happy, confident, and exceptionally broad-minded. In this episode, K.A. and Dana will discuss the topic of lesbian parenting. We hope you'll join us. Okay, so I have been looking forward to this topic. This is like my opportunity to grill the expert.
I'm not sure I'm an expert.
Oh, you are so much more than I am. Okay, so we'll just start by laying it out there. This is so not my area. So not my area. Kay's son was just out of high school when we got together, because Kay and I have a little bit of age difference. And 32 years later, obviously, he's come along the way, age-wise, and we have a couple grandkids. And we have the grandkids over now and then, and we do holidays with them, but they don't live in town. And so I haven't had any lesbian mom experience. Children aren't in our house. We have a poodle, one poodle, only one poodle, not an extra cat, no small children. When there are small children in a restaurant, I ask to be seated elsewhere. So it's not that I don't like them, it's just that I have no experience with them, and at this point in my life, I'm not looking for experience. But the topic and having you on the hot seat was just too tempting, and I thank your wife for the suggestion.
So my experience is, between my wife and I, we have 5. They were 14 through 6 when we got together, and now they're 34 through 25 now. Plus we have a 9-year-old granddaughter who is with us pretty much full time. So, and we have 3 dogs, 2 cats. So we have a busy household, even though these are supposedly our golden years.
And I could almost wake up in a sweat with that. That could be a nightmare for me.
Well, it's just the way our life is.
But when I talk to you on the phone or Skype with you when we're not recording, I mean, you have sounds all through your house. You have people moving and things happening, and you are always busy. But it's a happy place.
Most of the time, we've had our struggles. We laugh. The only thing that our 5 kids haven't put us through is teenage pregnancy. But we've covered every other issue that could possibly be covered. I mean, we've had our struggles, but for the most part, we feel like we did okay with the kids. Although my 28-year-old son is now living with us again, and I have told him since he was about 2 that I understand why some animals eat their young.
He was delightful. Don't be talking about him. I met him on Skype the other day. He's delightful.
Yes,
he's
delightful.
Delightful. And that teenage pregnancy thing, I think, since you're raising another young girl, I think you better knock on wood somewhere. Oh, you could knock on your bedpost.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's what you could do. Okay, so last episode you did research. Well, obviously, the listeners now know I have no experience in this area. Even in graduate school, if there was an elective and you could take one about children or one about mental illness, I took mental illness. in my counseling psychology curriculum. So I think I have a human development course here or there that did have a few units on children. So I know nothing here. So I'm the one that did research this week.
Yes, and it's hard for me coming into this blind. I like to do research and learn.
It scares you a little bit, I'm sure, because you know that my intention today is to ask you questions. But so I'm going to try to make this painful. I went a couple different routes, because Sheena had me all in the mood for top 10 lists and whatever. I was seeing some of her posts. So I was looking for some of the lists and some things that might be interesting. But before we get to those, I know you know this, but I'm hoping, I don't think you know exactly all about it. I had a little chat with your daughter this week. I friended her. Unfriended her on Facebook. And since she's listened to our episodes, I know that she knew who I was. But you could tell in that first interaction is like, hello, who are you? And that's okay. Yeah. And the other thing, well, I've already told you this, that I liked her right out of the gate. Because when I wanted to know a couple things about you, and I wanted to kind of do it behind the scenes so that I could spring something on you today, I could, those little bristles were up. It's like, who are you? And I'm not talking to you about my mom. I loved her. I loved her. She is so your daughter.
She is my greatest champion and always has been.
But anyway, so to get things going, well, I asked her to come up with a question or a story or a comment or something to kind of get us off on a personal note, because this episode's not really about anything but lists and you, pretty much.
Yay.
Okay, so here's her question, or kind of it's my question because it's embedded in her statement. So I am supposed to ask you about the time that you and your wife dared her to ask her 8th grade health teacher if gayness was contagious.
Lord.
Now, like some people are hiding this, they're not bringing it out there and waving the flag, but you send your kid and poke her. Make her stand up and draw attention to herself.
Well,
so tell me about that. Did that happen, or did she make it up?
It happened. You have to understand, when Kate was in school, all through school, she had her little tribe, and they've all been to our house. They know our situation. They know everything that was going on, and they had an 8th grade health teacher who is also a lesbian, and I wouldn't say that she was out, but she was not in the closet. She was just kind of living her life.
Oh, now.
And so.
Now that's just bad. Here, I thought you were messing with some straight health teacher. No. You are so bad.
So Kate, they were in the lunchroom, and it was just Kate's little tribe over there, and this teacher came and sat down with them, and there was probably 5 or 6 of them, and so Kate, she said, "Is it true that you can catch gayness from other people?" And this teacher was just dumbfounded because the teacher knew of our situation, and she just didn't know what to say to Kate. So she told her, "We'll take that up in class." And so she made a whole class about it, and Kate said it was one of the best classes that she had.
So I'm thinking it's not contagious, but what did she tell her?
That it's not contagious, and that she of all children should know that. And I guess just the look on this teacher's face was just absolutely priceless, and that's what Kate remembered.
Okay, so now all the listeners know what I already knew. You are an ornery dog. But now I know that your wife is too.
Yes. 2 peas in a pod. Yeah.
Birds of a feather. You know what they say about them.
Yep. So, but it's just interesting. We've worked really hard to blend our family together and to make us one unit. And, we've gone through things as a family. It's not my kids, her kids, it's our kids. And, whatever we have to face it together. And the things we faced, I don't think would have been any different, or the outcome had been any different had we both still been in straight marriages.
No, probably not, because it comes down to people are people, moms are moms, dads are dads, and parents are parents.
Right. And all of our kids had their dads in their lives while they were growing up. My wife's first husband has passed away, but he was in the kids' life up until about 3 years ago. So both dads were active in the kids' life.
Well, which is a good thing when that works out. I mean, it's, right. And for those families that doesn't work for, I know that many try to, create a tribe, so to speak, to
right.
gather folks around and people in the kids' lives so that they have role models and other adults.
Yes, and even for us, where our 9-year-old granddaughter, her dad has never been in her life. She's never met him. I don't know that she ever will. Her tribe is her uncles, and her uncles take her camping, and they take her fishing, and they take her places, and they help her see what the man's role in her life. If she needs one, she has 3 uncles that will step up to the plate in a heartbeat.
I'm sure they will. So I've been looking around on the web, and so I just thought I'd go with some of these lists and just have you respond. I don't know, it'd be like a game show, only you won't win anything. So I like this list. 10 things lesbian moms want you to know. Sounds harmless enough, huh? So let's see how many. It's harmless. I'll just tell you. So let's see how many of these, let's just see where you weigh in and where you think your wife would weigh in. I already know one. Number 1 on that list, and this comes from mom365.com, but number 1 on the list is gay doesn't rub off.
Well.
So I assume that question to that poor health teacher was to just poke fun at gay doesn't rub off.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if it would, we have 5 straight children. So obviously it didn't rub off on them. Maybe we didn't rub hard enough. I don't know, but we've got 5 straight kids, all but one in a straight relationship. And the other one's just kind of flopping around like a wet fish. But he is straight. and your sons are going to know which one's flopping, right? So when they listen to this, absolutely.
Yeah, okay. Because I wouldn't want to leave, anyone wondering. Okay, so number 2, I'm surprised it made number 2, but number 2 was our kids call us both mom. Our kids call us mom too. Big deal or not?
Not a big deal. Because our kids were a little bit older when we got together. Kate was 5. My kids call me mom and call her Wendy, and her kids call her mom and call me Dana. It's not that big of a deal. Now with our granddaughter Callie, I'm Oma, which is German for grandma, and Wendy's grandma. So okay. It's just one of those things we work around.
I imagine the mom thing is more important, for the moms where, they choose to have a baby and they do insemination or whatever they do, and they're both mom, and they're called mom, and they bring a baby home, and they're ticked off when people assume that one of them's not.
Right.
I imagine that's why this was so high on the list.
And I would agree. We didn't bring a baby home, so the mom role was already established.
Okay. All right. So, and I'm guessing I know where you're going to weigh in on that one, but number 3 on the list was we worry about bullying. So lesbian moms on this top 10 list wanted people to know that they worry about their kids being bullied. Did you? I'll bet not. You put yours up to ask the poor health teacher.
I didn't worry. I worried about it, but for the fact that my kids always had strong kids around them. And, in fact, when my son Matt started dating this girl that he's dating now, I said, does she know about us? And he's like, well, of course, if she had a problem with it, she's not the girl for me. So for my kids, and I'm just speaking for mine, they always had strong tribes around them that helped protect them and ease them through the difficult situations in school.
Yay. I like him immediately, too. So that's all three of them I like immediately. Excellent. Okay. And this one with the older kids, I'm guessing this one relates to the second one in a way about probably not bothering you. But neither of us is the dad. I assume that was never an issue.
Not for us, because all of our kids had a dad in the picture. So we were just two moms raising 5 kids and loving them and doing the best we could by them.
Okay, so I'm going to clip through the next 2 because I'll bet you're just going to agree. 5 moms, lesbian moms want folks to know that research has shown that having same-sex parents isn't harmful. Well, duh.
Right.
And some studies have actually shown that the kids of lesbian moms might actually be happier.
I would agree with that. The thing that I think we've done that I don't know that we've just had to cover topics that sometimes straight parents don't have to cover. We have an open table policy, which any kid can bring anything to our kitchen table and we'll discuss it. And so I think that's helped our kids be more rounded because, believe me, there's been some topics at our table that my poor mother would have a heart attack over.
If she listens to your podcast, she'll probably ask you about them now.
Oh, no, she won't. She doesn't want to. She won't even broach the subject.
Doesn't want to know.
Yeah, when Matt was about, I don't know, he had to have been 20 or 19 or 20. He came home and he said, Mom, we went down to the sex shop and we have questions. And this was over a Sunday breakfast when everybody was home. And, we've always tried to answer their questions to the best of our ability and not lie to them and not make things seem different than what they are.
Which is probably why kids of lesbian moms are found to be rather broad-minded, open-minded.
Okay. We have to be.
Yeah. Okay, so number 7 on my list, it's impolite to ask where our kids came from.
Well,
like, how did you get them?
Well, I just had a discussion with Andy like 15, 20 minutes ago that we picked him up on the side of the road, and if we'd have known everything that we were going to go through, we would have taken the watermelon. So,
poor Andy.
God bless him. They come from all different areas. It's just like with any other couple. I mean, some of us were in heterosexual relationships. Some of us have done in vitro. I mean, if you want a baby, you pretty much can have a baby now.
Yeah, so impolite to ask or not? Hello, where did your kids come from?
Well, I don't know that it's impolite, given the right circumstance. I mean, I don't want to be asked that, in a room full of strangers that I don't know. But if somebody has a question, sure, I'll answer it.
Yeah, that's just because that's you, probably. And then number 8, our kids have male role models. Well, that's probably important to you because you've already made it a point to make sure, that's out there. So, yeah.
And at least for my 3 are the youngest 3 of the 5. There's a gentleman here that I know that's probably one of my best friends, and he's always been in the kids' life, and, he's helped with baseball, and he's helped with soccer, and So they have male role models. It's not like we had to go out and pay somebody to come in and be in the kids' life. And that goes to another one that, they think all lesbians hate men. Well, how can I hate men when I've raised two?
Yeah, that'd be pretty hard. Although, did you have a comment about eating your young? Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
But you don't hate him. You love him. You just...
Oh, I love him.
You love him. You just...
He's just, he's my one that he's just like me. And so I think that's why, we push each other's buttons, because we're so much alike.
Yeah, I hate to break this to you. Your daughter's a little bit like you, too. So, so here is number 9 would be like the one I'd put on top, my personal favorite. We don't have an agenda. We just want to live our lives.
Absolutely.
Like what's that doing on number 9?
Like, who doesn't want to just live their lives and raise their kids and be happy, healthy, and free? I mean, that's kind of what our Constitution was built on. And for us, it's not that big of a deal. People in the neighborhood know. When the kids were in school, the teachers knew. The kids' friends knew. In fact, the first day, Matt's my football player, and when he started high school, he came home from the first practice, and he says, "Mom, I made a new best friend." And I said, "Oh, yeah? Who's that?" And he told me the kid's name, and he says, "And he has 2 moms, too." And I thought,
that is so cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
How did that topic even come up at football practice? But I think our kids, we've raised them to be proud of who they are, and in order to be proud of who they are, they have to be proud of where they came from.
Yeah, so that kind of ties to one other little thing that I found doing research, is that lesbian moms, feel like it's important to stand up for the kids, and they feel like it's important to teach them to stand up for themselves, be proud of themselves. Which is probably,
Absolutely.
I mean, that probably should be true for every kid, but it might be especially true for our kids.
Well, and I think it's because when they come home to 2 parents who love them. And they know that. And so when they go out in the world, they know that coming home is a safe place for them to be. It's like with our table. Anything can be discussed there. I know when Matt first moved out of the house, and he was living with 3 roommates, and Matt had gotten really sick. And he came home and was staying here he was with us about 5 days, and one of his roommates called and said they just had reported him as a missing persons. And I'm like, "What do you mean?" And he's like, "Well, he hasn't been home in 5 days." And I'm like, "Well, he has been home for the 5 days, but thanks for finally realizing that he wasn't at your house."
Yeah.
So they come home when they're hurt, when they're tired, when they need encouragement. They know where to come, which is what every parent wants, whether gay, straight, trans. We just want our kids to be healthy adults that can stand on their 2 feet and say, this is the way I was raised. And I don't feel like it was any different than any other household.
Because it's really not. And we kind of started off talking about that. People are people, moms are moms, dads are dads. Number 10 on the list, we love our kids as much as you love yours, which is kind of wrapped into what you just said, in a way.
Yeah. That's kind of a duh. I mean, all moms, well, I shouldn't say that. Most moms love their children. And it doesn't matter whether we're in a relationship, whether we're in a gay relationship, whether we're in a straight relationship. We're just moms.
Yeah. Yes, you are. And good moms, I can tell. Hey.
We've had our moments.
Another great discussion. And you can probably hardly believe that we're out of time.
Yes, well, it seems like a long time on this end because I was the one on the hot seat.
Oh, time just flew on this end. So we've come to the end of an episode, and it's time to do what we'll do at the end of each episode. recommend a book and a movie.
For this week's books, we'd like to recommend Whispers of the Heart by K.A. Mall and Special Delivery by J.A. Armstrong. As for our movie, we had a little bit of tougher time with this, but we decided to go with Mrs. Doubtfire. And although it doesn't have any lesbians in it, it does depict how there are all different sorts of families. We hope you enjoy these recommendations.
Also, at the end of each episode, we'll answer a question from one of our listeners. If you'd like to send us a question, you'll find a link to our email address on the website. Eckler Photograph tweeted to us this week, "Being a mom is the most important job I have ever had, and having my wife by my side in doing so is just icing on the cake."
In August, we'll be starting our own little book club. We will announce the book that we're going to be reading a month before the episode is to be discussed. Our book for our August 27th episode will be the New York Times self-help bestseller, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck, A Counterintuitive Approach to a Good Life by Mark Manson. Read along if you want. Send us your questions, send us your thoughts, and we'll try and incorporate them into our episode.
You've been listening to Coffee Break with Kay and Dana, meaningful conversations from a lesbian perspective, brought to you by the Lesbian Talk Show. Be sure to like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and visit our website, www.coffeebreakwithkanddana.com. Until next week, work hard, be kind to one another, and watch amazing things happen in your corner of the world.